Hello, welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. We at Remedy This Naturally are proud to be able to bring you this broadcast so you can learn more about God's pharmacy and what it can do for you in your life, and that you can have a better quality of life naturally. Today you're in for a special treat. We have Cookie Tilghman. She will be sharing some of her knowledge and information, and the reason I said some of it is because she is so versed in the natural health field, we would continue to have to be here hour after hour for the rest of the week to get it all out. So get your pencils, get your paper, so you can write down little nuggets about natural health and how it can benefit you and the life you lead naturally. On the screen is the address and the phone number. For your information, let's reiterate that we're open during the pandemic situation from Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5. The contract post office operates on the same schedule except for Saturday is open from 10 to 2. We look forward to you coming in, shopping, getting what you need to be able to help you. And if you don't want to get out in the weather and want to be safe, call us. We can ship from the post office to you what we have available and Remedy This Naturally in the natural remedies. So with no further ado, Cookie Tilghman, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, friend.
And there you go. We got your picture up on the screen right there. And folks, this is a fantastic, educated woman. I am so excited about that. Cookie, tell the people what's so exciting about you.
Oh my goodness. I'm very humbled with your words, very much.
And I liked what you said, oh my goodness, so that took care of everything right there.
That's right. Well, I am just honored to share with anybody who's willing to listen. I know that natural herbs and fibers from God's pharmacy changed my life 28 years ago this past January. It's been a wonderful journey.
Now, you said 28 years ago something happened. What in the world was a life-changing event for you?
I was diagnosed 12 years prior to that with severe diverticulitis. And that came about because of lifestyle and changes in moving to different areas and eating different foods. And I had been treated by the medical field, and Claiborne, the medical field's important. I want to make sure everybody knows that. But I had been treated by the medical field symptomatically for over 12 years and was told that the only thing they knew left to do was to cut out that part of my colon that was most inflamed, and I might have to wear one of those awful bags on my hip the rest of my life. I was 49 years old at the time, and that scared me to death. So I said, wait, I have to pray about this and talk to some other people. A month later, a couple moved to my neighborhood, and I lived on the south end of Topsail Island at the time. And he was an herbalist and a chiropractic physician, and I didn't know anything about either one, but he heard my story, and his response was, oh my, there are some better choices. And I was born under the sign of Taurus the bull, so I stomped my foot, and I said, well, what are they, and how do I find out about them? That started my journey.
And the neat thing about it is you talked about being a Taurus or being a bull. Have you found out that having that characteristic has been most important for you to have the tenacity to be able to do what is important for your life and your health?
Absolutely. God brought me here during that time for a reason.
And I don't think he's done with you yet, because if I'm not mistaken, you still work with individuals who want to understand and have an educated person in this field talk to them about what can be choices, because at the time when you go back, you're looking at 40 years ago, you weren't given any choices.
Right. And that doctor said to me, well, let's talk. And found out a little bit about my lifestyle. And at the time, Claiborne, I was suffering from sinus infections. And I had been told that it was hereditary because my daddy suffered, and I just needed to take this pill and learn to live with it. So when I was being asked questions by this doctor, Dr. Mark Langus was his name, and I was telling him that the sinus infections they hurt the most. I had sort of learned what to eat and not eat to control my tummy. And he said, oh, we need to get your gut healthy. And I said to him, Dr. Langus, I don't think you heard me. I'm talking about the other end of my body.
So in other words, you jumped from the head to the backside.
That's right. That was my first lesson. The fact that we're all hooked together, and sometime a symptom shows up in a totally different place than the problem.
But you have been able to say, let me think outside of the box.
Oh, yes.
And so you thinking outside of the box, what really did you notice first after you start making some changes?
The changes that I made were to address stress, and that the internal stress from your body being out of balance, and that was a good B complex. And then to address the fact that I needed some minerals and some fiber. And the first change I saw was that when I needed to have a bowel movement, it took 5 minutes rather than 45 minutes.
You did not take the Sunday newspaper to the toilet with you so you'd have a chance to read it.
Absolutely, yes.
Go ahead.
And people started saying to me, you look like you feel better. What are you doing? And that's when I knew that I wanted to get more answers. And I enrolled in Trinity College of Natural Health at age 50 and am a certified naturopath and love teaching people how this amazing body functions. There's a term now in mainstream called functional medicine, so that we can get to causes in addition to treating symptoms.
And let's go back 50 years for a moment.
Okay.
Can you think about how things were then and how things are now, and realize that you were giving a strong affirmation as to what you could have if you were willing to investigate? In your investigation, what did you choose as your guideline as to what you wanted to find out?
Well, one of the first books that came to me was a little book called Life Abundantly by my friend Ed Bashaw.
Okay.
And I know you're familiar with that book.
You know, and I'll stop you for a second. Last week, a week ago today, Kurt Bashaw was my guest, and I held up that book, Life Abundantly, because it has been a teaching tool of mine over the years. And what I wanted people to understand was the human nature of the person that wrote that book. And if you want to say anything about Ed and Life Abundantly, now would be a good time to do it since we brought it up.
I have purchased cases and cases of that book to give to clients and friends as a guideline to God's pharmacy.
And you know what Kurt told us last week was that Ed wrote that book because they had moved from New York to Virginia, and he found out that he had to be able to instruct and teach the Southern Christian that it was God's way of doing things, and it was all scriptural.
I didn't know that. That's great.
That's how it all came about. Oh, and I'll throw another little tidbit out, since other people are eavesdropping on you and me. That cornucopia that's on the front page?
Yes.
Kurt designed it.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
It's amazing we do things and we don't know a lot about what we're doing.
I know, and I've seen, oh my goodness, Claiborne, I've seen so many people, thousands of people in the 28 years that I've been seeing people take responsibility for their own body and their own health. And you know, one lady comes to my mind immediately, and she had been dealing with severe asthma for years. And after a couple of visits, stepped up in trust, to my knowledge, and together we've healed her respiratory system, and she's been totally medication-free for at least 6 years now, and she walks around just telling everybody she's like a walking billboard.
Well, you know, it's like, you know, the old thing that said, free at last, from Dr. talking about it, that we have to be set free from what is controlling our life in a negative way.
Right.
And with God's pharmacy, you actually can do that. You can do that.
I know. I'm walking proof, and I bet you are too.
Hold on to what you got right there. Lee, if you'll come back and put on the screen there our information for people. We want to go ahead and plug in a commercial for Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road in Rocky Mount. And it's bringing you this show with Cookie Tilghman. And she's in Topsail Island here in North Carolina. And she's sharing some of her heart with you today because it has changed people's lives. Just to let you know, our hours are currently 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The contract post office differs on Saturday. They're 10 to 2. We are there to serve you and help you reach out and get what you need to help you be the best you can be. Let the body cleanse and detoxify itself so it can be made whole. And with that, come check us out. The number's there. And if we can help you, let us know. I'm back on the phone now with Cookie Tilghman. She's an integrative natural health specialist and a certified naturopath. Cookie, just to help people understand, would you go ahead and break down what it means to be integrative medicine?
Oh, yes. I was the health consultant for a local drugstore, pharmacy, for over 5 years. And I learned a lot about prescription drugs. And even before that, I always told my clients, especially those that were on prescriptions, that there's a time and place for those medicines. And it doesn't mean that if you take a blood pressure medicine, you can't take some herbal remedies. Integrative means that you can do both, and that there are some contraindications, and people would be smart to work with somebody like you or myself to know what those contraindications might be and to be safe. But the body functions on vitamins and minerals and amino acids and essential fatty acids, and the prescription drugs deplete those because they're chemical based. So it's so important to know to put those nutrients back in your body. I work with the ABCDs of natural health, and that's from a master herbalist named Stephen Horn. And so many people that come to see me need that B first. It stands for activate, build, cleanse, and then a direct aid if one needs it. So in many cases, a body needs building before you can do anything else.
Yeah, it's and it's maybe not the professional way of saying this. I always, this is one of the things that my thinking used to be before I got sophisticated, right?
Yeah.
It's called stinking thinking, and you're lower than a pregnant ant in a wagon wheel rut. So those are some of the things that my wife told me, that if you're going to be a professional, you not talk about them, but some of that old way still has to come out every once in a while. So
that's true.
But thank you for talking about building and helping the body get better before you start making purgative changes, like in the bowels working, the urinary working, just making sure our body parts are functioning like they're supposed to.
Exactly. And Claiborne, I think about early on when people were asking me, what are you doing? How do you learn this? And so forth. I was raised in a generation and taught to say yes sir, no sir, and yes ma'am, and no ma'am, and especially to any professional, and that most likely was a medical professional, my medical doctor. What he said was right, and to respect that, and that was all I needed to know.
And the thing right there, though, I understand, because that was my mom's thinking as well, and Mom was born in 1918, and so she'd been over 100 years old if she was living today. But the things that they were so grateful for, they had gone through all these things. My dad was born in 1900, so he went through the things of 1918, the pandemic back then. And it was just a miracle that the pharmacists could come out with things to help them overcome the negative stuff that was detrimental and causing people to lose their lives. So all of that came through, and they were very appreciative of it, and very, I would say, committed to making sure they passed something along to you and I that would help us have a better quality of life and not have to go through some of the detrimental things that could actually end up sending us on to 6 foot down.
Yes. Yes.
You talked about, and I asked you to send me some information, educational requirements from the National Association of Certified Natural Health Professionals. You said they're renewable annually. So in other words, you're continuing to learn.
Absolutely. I love learning and I love teaching. And I teach a class, have been doing this for all these years. Now I'm doing it once a month. For a while I was teaching twice a month. And I was traveling to different locations and teaching to groups of people. But now I'm teaching online. And it's always the second Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. And if anybody's interested, they can let you know, and then we can get their email, and you can help us do that to teach people, because knowledge is power, and knowledge plus action is incredible. I always use that knowledge is power as my tagline. And my brother-in-law told me one time that wasn't true. He said, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't put it in action, you're not going to get any benefit.
Oh, we never get too old to learn something, do we?
No. And let me tell you, it's so exciting to teach people who are ready to hear.
And you got to be ready, otherwise you kind of throwing pearls before swine, and they don't really understand how good pearls look around the neck when they just gonna put them in the mud.
Yep.
And so you are an herb specialist, received certification in advanced herbal through Trinity College of Natural Health, and you also have been able to go through Steve Horn's information as well, too, right?
That's right.
Steve is just a phenomenal guy that, do you know what got him involved in the natural health? What was the trigger?
He had a lot of allergy problems. He's sort of like all of us. We have to get up against the wall before we open our mind to some other options.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, and let me go. I've got some education to do here for the audience, because you already spoke, you trained with a chiropractic assistant, and it gave you exceptional knowledge and understanding of the physiology of the body and innate wisdom that heals all. I love that statement.
It's so true.
And now I'm going to ask you to help talk about some of those wisdom techniques that you did. First of all, what is Reiki?
Reiki is an energy technique that helps to balance the body. It can be hands-on, or it doesn't even have to be hands-on. But it's just relaxing and balancing. I use that word a lot because I think everything is about balance. People asked me just yesterday, well, can I eat this? What about this? And I said to them, it's about balance. So that's what Reiki is, and it's very relaxful.
Okay. Trigger point.
Trigger point is something that I learned through chiropractic care working in chiropractor's office. And, you know, it's a little bit related to acupuncture. It uses some of the same points on the body to, here again, rebalance, remove stress, but you just use your fingers for it. And there's a chart to go by. And people can learn trigger point. Couples can learn it and use it on each other. It's an awesome technique that I encourage.
Okay. And then the next one, you got kinesiology.
Kinesiology is a study of muscles, and applied kinesiology is to use any muscle in the body to gather information from innate wisdom. The layman's term for that is muscle testing, but it has nothing to do with muscle or strength. Our body's a roadmap in many ways, and this kinesiology uses some points on the body to determine what might need to have attention, what system in the body might need building, what system in the body might need cleansing. It's just a fabulous technique to use, and it's very informative and very scientific. When I first heard about it, my response was, oh no, this sounds like woo-woo, I'm not going to do this. But then after I learned and researched it, I'm very proficient at applied kinesiology, and I use that a lot.
Are you intuitive enough to be able to do this by phone?
I do it long distance, yes.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, because what's going to happen, I'm going to get some inquiries, and they're going to want to know how to get in touch with you. And I can do one of two things. If you want to have Lee put up your phone number, or if you'd rather them just call me first and then I will pass it along to you, I can do it either way.
And I can do it either way, because I think I have a tribe of angels around me, so they're going to protect me from anybody that shouldn't call me.
Okay. You know,
you can post my phone number if you want to.
Okay. And Lee, if you're paying attention, 910-330-3838. And that way, when people are right there and they're watching this, and please, folks, if this is a rebroadcast on at 2 o'clock in the morning, don't use that phone.
Thank you. And also, please let me know that you're calling because of what you heard on Claiborne's show.
And Lee, I've had someone say that need to put my name up on there as well, because we got who's on the phone, but they don't know who that big picture is. We understand who's in the little picture because it's a smaller one. So we may want to put that up. And the other thing is, when you get a moment, turn the timer around so I can see it. Okay? That'd be good. Okay, where are we at now? We talked about kinesiology, reflexology, wellness counseling, personal client evaluations with emphasis on, oh, I love this, cause versus symptoms. Think about that for a moment. I'm going to turn you loose with it. But there again, I want to bring it up to date, folks. The broadcast is brought to you by Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road here in Rocky Mount. I am Claiborne Holtzman. And folks, we have been honored to be able to be on this show with WHID for decades. So it's really great. And you know, it's so neat now that people, when we actually start out in Tarboro, their children, they were children at the time, and now we get to see their children. It's so amazing. So the hours again for the Remedy This Naturally is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Contract post office is open those hours as well, except on Saturday, and it's 10 to 2. And also, due to the pandemic and with things still not opening up all the way, if we can ship you something, we'll be happy to do so. Take care, God bless, and hold on now, because Miss Cookie Tilghman has been thinking about causes versus symptoms, and her's going to explain it to you and I what that means. Go for it, Cookie.
Okay. In Chinese medicine, every symptom in our body has a partner. For me, when I was telling Dr. Mark Langus that my sinus infections really hurt and I had them often, and he said, we need to clean your gut and get it healthy, that was my first inclination that the respiratory system and the intestinal system were partners. And that was so interesting to me that I began to study more, and I had a passion about that. And so when we use the health assessment questionnaires with someone, whether it's in person or on Zoom, online, or by phone, those questions really tell me a lot in regard to causes and cures and symptoms. We need to treat symptoms. And the good news is we can treat symptoms with God's pharmacy just as well as we can treat symptoms with the pharmacy without negative side effects. So we treat symptoms as we're building and cleansing the body to get to the cause. Another real good example, in our world, there are so many people who have thyroid imbalance. And the thyroid imbalance, of course, is very important. It's important also to know enough about how your body functions to know that if you treat a symptom with the thyroid, you'll always treat a symptom. But if you look at the adrenals and support the adrenals, then the thyroid's going to get back in balance quicker. So that's just a couple of examples. You know, think about this. Let's say you're sitting in your home and it's pouring rain, as it has been here in Thompson for the last 3 days, and you have a leak in the ceiling right in front of you. But when you started looking for the leak, you found out it was over on an outside wall, but it was running to the middle of the room. So many times that's how our body shows us symptoms, but the symptom is not where the problem is. So it's important to learn about functional, be open-minded enough to work with someone who can help you. You know, if you need a painter or a plumber or a lawyer, you don't try to learn it all and do it yourself. You go get some help.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage people, don't try to learn all this yourself. It can be overwhelming, especially for people who have families and work, and it's just overwhelming. It's too much. But you can pick out people, and there's people in every area or reachable with today's technology to help you know what your body needs, how much your body needs, and for how long. Because supplementation, in some cases, can be short-term if you're treating a specific symptom.
You know, the thing that you're explaining helps us to understand that just because the water's leaking in the roof here don't mean we don't need to go over and find out where the water's starting to get to that to come into that location.
Right.
You know, and I think that chiropractors are a very, especially when they do acupuncture and they do the little needles and help get rid of the meridians and making them work right. Were you in China when we went?
I did not go to China,
okay.
No.
Because I shared with Kurt and I were talking about, he was actually my roommate when we went to China. And we were talking about how we went to the university and the way the doctors there were finding out where your deficiencies were. They were just doing pulse testing and they were checking our pulse. And with that, they were able to recommend what was going on in what part of the body and what would benefit it to be given to it by the kinesiology they did as well. I guess that was just so impressive for me, and that was back in, that's been about 18 years ago, I guess we went. Wow.
Right.
But it was worth the time.
That just really exemplifies the innate wisdom of our amazing living organism.
You want to expound on that a little bit?
Well, if we can find out information from our pulse, we can find out information from using kinesiology. We can certainly find out information from iridology. There's just so many techniques that we just keep learning about that just proves over and over again that this amazing living organism, this body, is so innately made with so much detail that I don't think anybody living will ever know all the detail, that it's just amazing to learn enough to know a little bit about how it functions, so that we can have confidence in God's pharmacy.
And the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. And when you get the right ingredients put together, then the body has what it needs. It can heal itself. I go back and I share with people quite often, because I use the terminology God's pharmacy quite often as well. And what I share is this, that we were made and designed by a creator, whom I refer to as God, that put the original creation into a environment they call the Garden of Eden, and they had everything in there to replace what they used up on a day-to-day basis. And when they needed it, it was there. And that's why God, when they became disobedient, thought they could be just as strong as him, and they got the butt kicked out. And the reason God did it, because he would have had the imperfect being never getting to the point they would die. So he had to give us an alternative to make a decision that we want to be imperfect but perfect in his sight. So,
Amen.
So that I got a little carried away there to the scriptural aspect of what's going on, because you got to have a foundation to stand on. And that is my foundation, where I stand and where I came from. And you know, it's always, when things get to the point that you control them, then you have to depend on a higher power to take care of what we need and who we need to become. And when we do that, there'll be healing. And
amen. You and I are on the same page for sure.
So
I went on an herb walk many years ago when I was learning and getting my herbal specialist. And it was with an old guy in Hillsborough, North Carolina. And we all day Saturday and all day Sunday out on a 50-acre farm, walking, and identifying plants, and I loved it. One of the most important pieces of information that I remember from that was that, for instance, for every poison plant that animals can come in contact with, whether it be domesticated animals like cows or wild animals, the antidote is within reach. Now, that's detail that a supreme being created. That's not an accident. And the same is true with our body. If something's out of balance, there's, if you want to call it an antidote or a nutrient or a whatever, but it's there to get you back in balance. And it's just amazing how it happens. And one of the biggest mistakes I think that the average person makes when they're trying to do it on themselves is on dosage. Because the dosage written on any product is for maintenance. And if you need a therapeutic dose, then that maintenance dose may not work for you. I've heard people say, oh, I tried that St. John's wort and I couldn't tell a bit of difference. And so, are you getting the right dosage for your body's needs? And that's what I do, is get specific for specific people and specific situations. And I know you do too.
you know, it's important to pay attention. It's important to listen. But more yet, we have got to, and I'm saying this for the benefit of everyone watching, there will come a time that there will be thoughts, there'll be urges, there will be information that your body is looking for an answer. And it will give you the answer because it wants to be here with you as long as possible. So be aware to listen to what, how many times have you thought about somebody and you're wondering about them? All of a sudden you may get a phone call, you may get a knock on the door, or their name comes up in conversation with someone else. Ever have that happen, Cookie?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And what does that tell you?
It tells me I need to listen.
And it's okay. It's just like today. A couple months ago, I had a conversation with someone else. We never finished the conversation. And I kept getting nudged all morning today. That person just came to my mind over and over again. So I said, I wrote him a text and said, hey, look, this is I keep getting prompted to. And it was a couple hours later, the person said, thank you for doing that because I just set it on the back burner and forgot all about it.
Yep. We've all had that happen, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I think that's so important. Let me see if I can do something crazy. Hold on a minute. Hey, Mr. Dick Williams, is that you? Hold on a minute, buddy. Let me turn my volume up. And look, Dick, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. You are with me in front of a camera at WHIG TV. Cookie Tilghman is on the phone with me, and you just called in to tell us what? Are you there, Dick? Okay, here. I got you on speaker. I got you on speaker now. Did you hear all that stuff I said?
Are you hearing me, Claiborne? I'm confused.
I have you on speakerphone. I am in the studio of WHIG TV with Cookie Tilghman and you on the phone.
Oh. I'll be done.
And
you got a Cookie, but you got all you can handle. I'm just trying to get the Wilbert's phone number. And the two I have for him.
I will call you. I will call you back when I finish the show here in about 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, and just tell Cookie if she has any questions about the new marketing plan. I'm not an expert, but I do know how the bridge works.
Okay, that's ready.
To help her.
Okay, Dick, I've got you on microphone now, and what Cookie and I are talking about is health specialist and the things that she does, and I think you were so influential in helping her along the road. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Well, Missy doesn't need help from anybody. We did work. We love working together. She's done so many wonderful promotions that she has. What she has done in her area relative to helping people achieve health is astonishing. Particularly some of the things that she did when the weather was so bad, and she just performed. She went from home to home to help people when there was absolutely nothing else available in terms of medical help, health, merchandise, etc.
And that's why we are taking this. We're spotlighting her today.
I'll tell you, if I wasn't a married man, I'd run off with the woman.
Cookie, you hearing all this?
Oh, yes.
She just is being quiet, Dick. So.
We go back, 20, 25 years. She's just amazing, and she's brought her children into this. They're great. It's just only one Cookie Tilghman, and I'm a fan.
Yes, sir. I can understand why. So, anything you want to share with the audience in reference to God's Pharmacy and natural healing?
Yes, there's so much I could share. It's just, I guess the most important thing for them to understand is that there's an enormous difference between synthetic vitamins and plant-based product. And very often what they will find in the store is not what's in the bottle at all. It's just a really nice-looking label. So the manufacturer is so important, and Nature Sunshine has that credibility that you need. So that when you purchase a product from Dr. Cookie, it's for sure in there is what she says it is. Since if you buy something in a store, very often, as the government has pointed out, there's no connection between what's actually inside there. So when you get Cookie, you get the truth. You get the real thing.
Beautiful spoken, Dick. Beautifully spoken.
Thank you.
Cookie, is there anything you want Dick to hear from you before I turn him loose?
Just thank you for all the years and all the wisdom and all the caring and all the love.
Did you get that, Dick?
Well, that means so much to me right now. So thank you for that. I'm so glad I got to share this moment with the two of you. Can't put it in words.
Well, you know, Dick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. And we will. I'm going to wrap this up with Cookie here in a few minutes, but I'll call you back as soon as I get off the air.
Okay. Thank you, and to all that are listening to you at this moment, good health. Without it, you've got nothing.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Dick. Okay. Lee, if you'll just take that extra mic and make sure I don't do anything with it there. Cookie.
Yes.
What were we talking about right
We were talking about symptoms and causes and all that kind of thing, and I just wanted to add to that, there is a wonderful program that I use and recommend, and I call it the Transformational Habit of Health, and it's a 3-month, 90-day program that changes lives, and it's easy. It's an investment in your health, and I would love to share that information with anybody that's open.
Okay.
It works, and you got to be patient. Things didn't get like they are if your body's out of balance. It's taken a while, so 3 months is not long. Mm-hmm. You think about the rest of your life.
Yeah, the point I was going to make is I was talking to you and I was sharing with the audience about being nudged to make a phone call or get in touch with a particular individual. And then when I did, they thanked me because they had kind of set it on the back burner. And there could not be more timely than for Dick Williams to call in, because Dick has been instrumental in my life, Cookie's life. And Dick is 92 now? No, he's 91.
Yeah.
And Joy is 80. And Joy is having some issues. And when Dick was talking about how much it means to have friends and making that phone call, I know it was something that lifted him up way above the circumstances that he's in the middle of fighting through at this point in time. So I'm excited about that.
That's what I call a God wink.
It's definitely paying attention. You know, someone said in a prayer, every morning they pray that help me when I meet the people I know, meet people I see, and the people who see me, make sure I think about what is it that we need from each other.
Oh, yes.
And so, you know, these are actually deep spiritual things that are going on. And we live so much in the physical. We miss out a lot on the mental. But if we don't have the spiritual connection, we're not going to survive.
We sure aren't, Claiborne. And that spiritual then includes emotional, and that's one of my passions, to always include emotional and spiritual with any work that I do with anybody.
What has been one example? You've talked about how many years and how life changed at a certain point. Mm-hmm. What is the one thing that sticks out in your mind that keeps you motivated?
Wow.
With that, I can tell there are a bunch of them. So the question being, which one comes to mind first?
Well, I believe your passion is your purpose, and your purpose is your passion, and I believe that that's exactly where I've been and where I am.
In other words, at your life, there was a turning point where you were putting up with stuff, and some of that stuff was physical, some of it was spiritual, some of it was financial. And then all of a sudden, you found out that you could actually make a difference in the physical realm by using and implementing what God had offered in His Word. And there again, it leads us back to Ed Bashaw, who put all the scriptures in Life Abundantly so he could prove the point that it was of God.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
That is so powerful.
Well, and Claiborne, I'll add to that. I believe that God allowed me to go through those 12 plus years of the colon issues so that I could teach it and say, I really know how you feel. I've been there.
And that's so important, because when we talk to someone else and we share with someone else, they got to know beyond a shadow of a doubt it's all about them.
Yes.
And we may be a messenger, but we're not the healers.
That's so true.
We are the one that share with people because of stuff that happened in your life, your kids' lives, people you love life, and it's the same thing in my world because of health of people I love and things that happened to them I didn't want to happen to anybody else.
I understand. One of my daily mantras is I am happy, I am healthy, I am whole. Thank you, Jesus.
You know what? I was going to ask you what the final say would be, and I think you just did it. Say it one more time so everybody will get it.
I am happy, I am healthy, I am whole. Thank you, Jesus.
And with that, folks, I'm Claiborne Holtzman. You've been listening to Remedy This Naturally with Cookie Tilghman. She says you're welcome to call. Her number's on the screen. Please be conscientious when you do it. And the main thing, folks, your life, your health, your total well-being are your responsibility. We at Remedy This Naturally are there to help you meet that responsibility with God's pharmacy and with the teachings of the Bible that will help you have life and have it more abundantly. Until we meet again, may good health be yours. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman.